It's time for Agriculture, presented by Turkana Farms in Germantown, New York, a small-scale producer of heritage breed livestock and a wide array of vegetables and berries on just over 39 acres. They also produce a full array of garden vegetables, many of them heirloom varieties raised naturally, as well as an assortment of berries, including raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries, black, red, and white currants, mulberries, and elderberries. And now, here's Mark Scherzer.
We all have habitual thought patterns that we use to make sense of the chaos of the life around us. One of my idiosyncratic ones, which started as soon as I started cohabiting with farm animals, is a tendency to perceive universal truths about human life embedded in everyday interactions among the creatures of the farm. The skeptic might suggest that I'm simply searching for vehicles to validate my own prejudices and assumptions, rather than finding universal truths based on objectively measured evidence. Maybe. But for me, wherever I look, there are life lessons learned. Late Thursday afternoon, after having delivered the evening meal to pigs Possum and Vernon, I was headed back to the house when I saw a raucous chase across the small field south of the pond. One of the pair of Canada geese who annually nest on the island in the middle of the pond chased a large bushy-tailed fox across the field and through the fence to the yard of my next-door neighbors, Emily and Paul. I called over to Emily, who had been working in the garden on the other side of the fence, to ask if she saw it, and she said she had been enjoying watching that gorgeous fox for some time now. Beautiful as we agree the fox is, I suspect Emily and I see it quite differently. She, an artist, is focused most on the beauty of the creature itself and is happy to have it hang around. I, in my farmer mode, am focused on this being the season when foxes are hunting for prey to bring home to feed their newly born young, and I am most anxious that none of my chickens become fox food. I hope Emily's numerous sightings mean the goose has effectively kept the fox on her side of the fence. I've seen this little goose-fox chase drama play out 4 times this week. The first time it stunned me that a bird would take on an animal which seemed roughly the same overall size and weight, but has teeth and claws that could kill it. But then I remembered the aggressive Chinese geese we once raised, which could easily, with the typical bluster of a bully, chase and intimidate us, much larger animals, with noise and the flapping of their powerful wings and the nips they gave when goosing us. One such attack led to an emergency room trip for Peter, who slipped in the mud. It's been years since either of the Canada geese has charged me, as I think they now know I pose no threat. But they are generally single-minded in protecting their nest, and once the goslings are hatched, they're young. At this stage, one of them is perpetually on the nest on the island, while the other seems perpetually on patrol on shore, ready to ward off any predators. They are not being overprotective. Foxes can and do swim to get food. The life lesson I've learned from observing the geese is just how deeply ingrained is the protective instinct in parenting, and how essential is the relentless vigilance of the parents. I don't think I'd have the commitment to be such an uncompromising bulwark myself. Maybe something hormonal is triggered when you actually have or are expecting offspring, which gives you that capacity, but I'm relieved that I have not had to test my capacity. Not a parent, am I suited for unclehood? I look to Orhan, our wether, that's a castrated ram, who serves the non-parental adult role in the herd. The lambs run to their mothers for security when they feel threatened, or for milk when they're hungry. They run to Orhan to play. I was taken with the vision I saw last week of almost the entire lamb kindergarten scrambling on top of Orhan as he sat sphinx-like in the pasture. Adorable, but here too I found a life lesson. If the essence of parenthood is relentless protective vigilance, the essence of unclehood appears to be indulgence. Orhan has to sit stoically as the nieces and nephews walk all over him. I may have found that fun once, but now, no thanks. I'm relieved that both I and the relevant young ones are past that stage. So where do I find the life lessons that are relevant for me on the present-day farm? Hard as it is to admit, it's in seeing my animals age. I spoke a few weeks ago about the old man pleasures of Vernon the boar. This week I've been focused on the tribulations of my frail old ewe, Aisha. Aisha has been almost completely blind for the last 2 years. Last summer, I frequently had to rescue her, as she got separated from the herd, frantically bleated and walked in circles trying to find them. I would lead her by voice back to rejoin the others. This year, such rescues have become far less necessary. It's not that Aisha is better at staying with the herd. It's that once separated, she cares less and tends to just calmly graze on her own. She's accepted a sort of social contraction. Yesterday morning, Aisha didn't come in with the rest of the group for the morning grain treat. I found her in the front pasture, silently lying on her side, her foot tangled in a fragment of broken down wire fence. I had to use a bolt cutter on the wire segments to free her, but even when freed, she seemed unable to stand up. I lifted her into a wheelbarrow, wheeled her to the barn, and placed her in a birthing pen. She seemed calm and comfortable, and her legs seemed intact with normal range of motion. But when I lifted her, trying to get her to stand, she still avoided putting weight on the leg and seemed to lack the strength to stand. When 2 hours later she had not improved, I texted the vet, expecting that we might have to put Aisha down. Yet when I went back up for evening chores, Aisha was upstanding and walking in her normal slow way. It just took her a while to recover. I was relieved and grateful for the illustration of aging that Aisha supplied. Life is going to contract, and I should get comfortable with a diminished social role, more comfortable spending time with myself. It's going to slow down, and I should accept that too, maybe savor it. And just maybe I shouldn't be too quick to pull the plug, because not every setback reflects a complete failure.
Agriculture is underwritten by Turkana Farms, LLC, a small-scale producer of heritage-bred livestock and a wide array of vegetables and berries on just over 39 acres in Germantown, New York. More information, 518-537-3815.